we found 6 things. If you had these experiences, it was 2 or 3 times more likely that you would be engaged in your job or that you would have a high level of well-being. They really came out into 2 different categories. One is relationships and the other is experiences. And these are all people who strongly agreed with these statements. If you had a professor who made you excited about learning, if you had professors who cared about you as a person, and did you have a mentor who encouraged you to pursue your goals and dreams? If you had those kinds of relationships with people, like even one of those could just pop you up into more of the greater life and the greater job. The next 3 were about experiences. So those were, did you work on a long-term project that went over a semester or 2? So that would be like what we would talk about now is like a culminating experience, or as people back in the day would say, their thesis. So basically that's about, thinking about long term, spending a lot of time working on one thing and being able to look at the real nuances of that project. Kind of like what you do in a job. Did you have, while you were in college, did you have a job or an internship where you applied what you were learning in class? The final one of those was, were you extremely involved in extracurricular activities or organizations? So it's not just like, right. Oh yeah, I was in band, one semester and then I dropped out, or, I was on the intramural soccer team one time. This is like, were you extremely involved? Like for 3 years, did you work on the school newspaper and maybe you were an editor at the end? Or were you really involved in your fraternity and you were the treasurer, or just something that really it's about passion, I think. Right. Were you really passionate about something, and did you have something like that in your life? And those were the things that really mattered. So it wasn't so much where you went. If you went to an Ivy League school and you didn't do any of those, your scores on the great job and the great life are going to be low. But if you went to a less selective school and you did some of these things, you were going to be much higher in that area. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize, and that Jane Wallace talks about in Never Enough. And she said, this is, one of the most important parts of the book.